Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. In this episode, we're headed to Woi Woi in the Hobie kayaks, and it's a particularly fitting time to launch this episode as the guys from the Hobie Australian World Team are headed off to Canada as we speak. And I'll go into that in a little bit more depth just in a minute. However, this particular event was held on Woi Woi, April 27 to 28, 2024. It's a great little show. We've got a couple of new guests and an old favourite who has really cracked a pattern, so I can't wait to share those with you. So I'm going to roll the intros, tell you what's been going on, tell you why there was a pause last week, a really good reason for it. In any case, here's the intros. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target brim on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite brim competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right. So, like I said, there was a pause in the show. We just had 1 week off. And the reason for that was on the 2nd of June, my father passed away after a short stint with a second round of cancer. So we've been here before, and unfortunately this time it was very quick. In any case, that happened. So I didn't feel right for just to have everything just rolling on without any sort of recognition. Hence a pause in the program. So I don't want to dwell too much on it. I do want to say thank you to the people that reached out to me, and there was very many, and lots of people I don't know as well. There was a heap of comments on the social media post I put up, which I appreciate. I chose not to respond. I think I responded to one or two publicly, but I really appreciate it. Yeah, I want to say thank you. He did listen to the show, particularly in the beginning. So, and I think as fishing was one of his favorite things, I'm sure he got the chance to listen and enjoy some of the interviews, particularly in the first few months of the show. So in any case, thank you to everyone that reached out. And moving on, I've got something in my mind in form of a tribute. So we might get into that later. However, let's get on with today's show. So what else is going on? The Australian Hobie team is headed off to Canada. They should be they should be there by the time this thing comes to air. Now, the competition runs from June 25 to July 1, and it is, I might get the pronunciation wrong on this, it's Tecumseh, I don't know how to say that, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And so the reason I mention this is definitely if you're into it, get online, follow these guys, give them a like, some encouragement. It really helps, as someone that's been overseas and competed, it's really cool to see the Aussies are behind and watching what's going on. In terms of times, I can't remember what I said, they're about 14 hours behind us, I think 12 or 14, something like that. So by the time they are starting competition, it'll be 7 or 8 o'clock at night, something around that time frame. So definitely keep an eye on that. Particularly if you're fishing the Hobies and sort of something you'd like to do, yeah, it'll just give you a bit of you'll be able to watch and see what you might be up for in the future if you can qualify for all Hobie Worlds, which is something to aspire to, in my opinion. Now, the other thing to say, over the last couple of months, obviously I've had my hands full, and while the show's been continuing and I've had lots of interviews, I've got a bunch to do. So if you've been in one of the competitions and I haven't reached out to you, it's on the way. So please expect it, or feel free to reach out to me if you came first, second, or third in the relevant comps. So in this comp, I did fish this comp up at Woi Woi. I didn't do nearly as well as everyone else. I think I ended up in 11th, which was not too bad. I was in 10th overnight, got a better bag on the Sunday, but slipped down a place. So there you go. Anyway, let's get into all the details and we can get straight into the angler interviews. So on the Saturday, we had 66 in the fish activity wheel with a minor bite period at 8:43 through to 10:13. A major bite period in the back end of the session, so 1:04 to 3:34 p.m. low tide at 5:10 at 0.21, running up to a high tide at 10:47 at 0.78 of a metre, so not a very high tide. On the Sunday, the minor bite period was at 9:47 through to 11:17, major bite period at 2:03 to 4:33, with a low at 5:58 or just on 6 o'clock at 0.24 and a high tide at 11:35 at 0.73 of a metre. So in this competition, I won't run through all the stats, but the total fish for the 2 days was 318 fish amongst the 103 anglers with a total weight of 183.2 kilos, which is an average weight of 580 grams. So it's sort of just under 600 average, which I think is pretty good. Now, the winning bag, which went average for that was 953. So the winning bag went 6 fish for 5.72 kilos. So there you go. So nearly double, in round numbers, you had to get above the average. Okay, the atomic big brim winner was Joshua Richards with a massive fish of 1.41 kilos. The hurricane monster mover went to Jordan Dang with 0.65 of a kilo on the Saturday and then 2.8 kilos on the Sunday. So he really worked it out. The youth went to Noah Buttigieg again. He's been doing quite well in that division. Ruth was on top with the women's with a good bag of 2.86 kilos. And then David Shanahan proving he is one of the kings of the Masters, definitely with 4.43 and sixth position. I think he jumped up. He got nearly 3 kilos on the Sunday. So quite a move there as well. All right. And one more thing before we get into the angler interviews. I had the pleasure of ducking out to Podium Marine Wraps today to get the back window done on the van. So you'll see the Brim Fishing Project. If you come to the comps, you'll see me there with the back of the van, or if you see me driving around, I'd say toot the horn, but it'd probably drive me crazy. In any case, having a look at some of the work that Corey done out there on the boats was quite amazing. The transformation. These boats kind of went from old boats to new boats, just with a bit of work with the wraps. So look, if you're interested in transforming your boat or making a change, changing or putting sponsors, logos, or anything you want, jump on the email. You can email Corey at info@podiummarinerapps.com.au. Jump on the website, which is podiummarinerapps.com.au as well. Yeah, get in touch. Get Corey to give you a quote. Great time of year to do it. Maybe you're not on the water as much. It takes about half a day to a day typically to get your boat sorted and make a massive change. So there you go. Get in touch with Corey. All right, so let's get into the angler interviews. Here we go. All right. So first up in third place, we have an angler that dropped 1.89 kilos on the scales on the Saturday for 3 fish, backed it up on the Sunday with a great bag of 2.87 kilos, giving him a total of 6 fish for 4.76. I have Dennis Mageropoulos. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries at all, mate. Mate, that's a great comeback on day 2.
Yeah. I had Cookie rooming with me and we're always talking about always improving our day 2 bag. I was just saying I do believe I've got the opportunity to improve on that. So, yeah, it worked out well.
Absolutely. And just for anyone that hasn't seen the results, Peter Cook, he came in 4th place as well, just behind you, just a couple 100 grams. So between the two of you wrapped up 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is good to see Pete come and have a fish. All right. Let's get into it. So, mate, for pre-fishing, did you get a chance to get out and have a look around on the Friday?
Yeah, got out on the Friday before. I didn't have time to get out prior. My plan was just pretty much to zone some areas that I believe that'd be out there in the deep. So I just zoned contour lines, did a little bit of fishing. I only got for 3, but I didn't fish too hard. It was more so just zoning, sounding up. I was looking for active schools, which I did locate. So, yeah, sort of left them. And then I had another little plan just to hit some boats as a plan B. So I did hit some boats as well in the afternoon. I did get 2. So I'm like, all right, I'll leave that just as a bit of another plan just in case as well. So, yeah, I was pretty confident leading into the comp. So,
no, that's pretty good based on the pre-fishers that I've heard about. To catch a couple of fish to get a bag, you actually did quite well. Anyway, Saturday morning, what was your plan and how did it play out?
So 5 rods, pretty much 3 with blades, 2 with plastics, and I'm there going, you know what? Early morning bite, I'm just going to go boat holes just to see if I can fill my bag early. So I just powered to the boats. I think there was like 4 anglers in front of me or three anglers in front. So I'm there going, oh, good. One guy just went into the boat straight away. So I'm like, oh, awesome. So I just powered through to get some clean boats, which I did. Got 2 fish. I think I got like a 28 tip and a 32 tip. They were both on crabbies. I love crabbies on the boats. So 1/24 jigs with throwing the crabby. 8:30, I'm there going, you know, I don't want to waste too much time. I've just learned doing these with the Hobie, I'm like, I don't want to burn too much time. So I was sort of saying anywhere between 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I did that. Then I just decided to go out deep to the area that I wanted to fish. So soon went there, that contour line. I did see active fish. And then, I got my third pretty much by 9. So 9, I had my bag. And then I didn't really weigh fish so I didn't know what the type of weight I had. I think I had the 32 tip, the 28, and it might have been a 30 tip. And then, pretty much just slogged it out in the deep. I love throwing my shrimp out deep. So I was persisting with that. I got some hits, got some takes, but just couldn't set hooks. And I'm like, all right, stop being bloody. I'm a bit too persistent with it at that time. So I'm like, nah, change it up. So went to the Cookies Stealth Blade. Soon after that, I think I got another 32 tip. But then I'm there going, all right, now I've upgraded. Let's start culling these fish and weigh them. So I started weighing them all. And it was funny, like that 32 tip that I got out deep and the 32 tip I got off the boat, there was like 150 gram difference from the one out deep.
Really?
So
wow, that's
straight up. I'm there going, all right, the better quality fish are out here. They were fat, they were thicker, they were tall, they were thick. So I'm like, great. And then it's just this one color, just absolute brained it. Like I was going through everything. So I just didn't want to keep throwing the same lure. So I just kept rotating between different colors. So there was 2 colors of Cookies Blade, and I also had the Eco Gear VX 426. So that's one of my other little favorites that I like. So I was rotating between those 3 blades, but time and time again, the color, I can't really explain this color, but it's just a unique color. That just kept getting them.
right. Okay. So the 426, that's got like a pink bottom with stripes and it's a high UV color.
Yeah. I love that color.
Yeah.
A lot of guys I know, I've sort of got a couple of blokes onto that, but I like that. That's one of my favorites in like clear water and dirty.
Yeah.
I think that UV, that just enhances it, Like it's, everyone knows the 439, that natural color, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 439 just reminds me of an olive cranker crab. It's that olive color.
Yeah.
So basically, you ended up with, on day one, 1.89. So did you upgrade throughout the day or where'd you end up?
Yeah, I upgraded, I think, 3 times off memory. Yeah, so I just started getting on my own worst enemy at times. I would just put them in the well. So, yeah, I just put them in the well. They're going, I go by sight. So, and I'm like, no, I think I've got a half decent bag here. Start weighing. So I was just, getting fish out, weighing them. And then I'm like, all right, beautiful. So I didn't really pay too much attention to actual length. I was just paying attention to just weighing them. So I can't really recall the actual weights on the first day. But, all I know is that, at the end of the day, obviously it was, 1.87, I think it was. So, which is, I'm going, oh, that's reasonable. So anywhere near that 2 kilo, I'm thereabouts, hopefully. So
yeah, that was a good weight for that day. Would have had you in like maybe 12th or 13th.
I was in 12th. Yeah, I was in 12th.
Yeah, no, that was pretty decent. There's a lot of small bags and a lot of missed fish.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you and Cookie, you went back in the night and had a bit of a chat and reformulated your plan. Tell us about how Sunday played out for you.
So I basically I saw the fish there on the sounder, so like they were hard on the bottom, and I could see at times they were active. You could see the lines, the lines on the sounder when they were darting up just off the bottom, you could see they were active. So that area that I was fishing, it was like around that 5.2 meters. So I'm there going, all right, they have to be there again. So I was just talking to Cookie. I'm like, I know that they're there, and I did drop a few fish on that day as well. So I'm there going, nah, they're still there. They have to be. So, yeah, that was the plan. Just go there straight away and just stay there all day. I just wanted to play that numbers game because on the Saturday, like, it wasn't – I probably caught about 15 legals on the Saturday, but I just knew that the better quality ones are out in that deep section that I was at. So I just said, no, I'm staying there, just playing the numbers game, and hopefully they can – I'll get them. I'll capitalise when they're there. So, which, yeah, that was what we ended up doing.
Okay. And did you concentrate mainly with the blade, or did you go back to plastics, or how'd that look?
I did. I threw everything. I tried to just mix it up. But again, that one blade accounted for probably 90% of the fish on the Sunday.
Yeah, right.
I did get on my shrimp. I did catch on the shrimp. I did get one on a black grub as well. But all my good fish came off that one blade.
Yeah, okay. All right, I want to dive back into the black grub, mate, because not many people say that. So what were you throwing there?
Just the black power bait, or the black grub in the Berkeley power bait range.
Right. Okay.
A lot of guys, I don't know, with me, if I'm getting bites, people say, oh, yeah, but you're losing, you're having to re-rig all the time, and, they're not like the bite tough. I don't care about that. There's been sessions where I've gone through like 5-6 packets in a session. I don't care about that. So I know that they just hold on to them. For me, like that scent, and
yeah, they stink.
Yeah, they stink, but they just hold on to them. So yeah, I enjoy throwing them because if I'm going through packets and I don't care, I'm enticing a bite. So yes, I did throw them, but then I think like my first fish hit the deck. That was a 690 gram. So I'm like, all right, yep, that was good. Like again, actually on the Sunday I forgot my ruler in the car.
Oh, ouch.
So I did actually, prior to that 690, I did catch 2 fish that I think probably were 26, but I threw them back.
Sure.
But anyway, I got the 690. I'm like, yep, beautiful. Got him in the well. And then I was on that school. I could see them under me. So I quickly weighed that fish, got it in the well. And then I didn't even cast. I just dropped the blade on that school and just waited till it hit the bottom. I gave it 2 hops, like literally first 1 or 2 hops, clunk, and it took off. And I'm there going, yeah, this is a good one. So yeah, I took that and I fought him for probably 5 minutes. And then obviously when I saw it, I'm shaking.
Yeah.
I get the shakes when I get a big fish, eh?
Fair enough.
So I got that, netted it, and I'm trying to get the bloody blade out of the net, and I'm shaking. I'm there going, Christ, calm down, will you? And then I knew it was over 1 kilo. And then when I weighed that, at the time it was 1.3 on the scales.
Wow, good fish.
So yeah, I got that in the well straight away. And then from there, I think that would have been maybe 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, probably another 45 minutes after that, I got 890 gram.
Wow.
So at the time, I'm there going, geez, I've got 2.6 or whatever it was. I forget what. Yeah. So I'm there going, oh, geez, this is great. I just need to upgrade it. If I can get. I'm there going 3 kilos. Like I'm there going, I was confident I was going to get 3 kilos.
Yeah.
So I was in my own area, which was good, but I did a few people sort of get a bit closer as well.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, a few people started getting a bit closer and talking and whatnot, but I'm trying to be a bit discreet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. With that sort of thing.
Soon after that, I then got upgraded the 690 to like a 720. That was on the blade again. And then, yeah, I ended up getting like I think a 780 at the time as well. So I upgraded it up to about a 780 again. So
yeah, okay.
that was all on my scales. Obviously, they change a little bit when they get in, but like, yeah, throughout the day, I was getting fish probably every hour. A couple of fish every hour. I just stayed in that one area. I really didn't cover a lot of a lot of ground. Like, from where the start was to where I fished, it was, I don't know, 4Ks, 5Ks, or around there.
Yeah.
I just focused on this area. Yeah, like, you look at my sounder, it's just a big circle.
Yeah, fair enough. And with your blades, how are you working them? Were you looking at small hops or big draws or anything particular?
I actually got a bit of it from one of your previous podcasts. You like using have you got like a 9-foot rod?
Yep. Yeah, a 9-foot, 9, 6 and a 10-foot or something like that. Really long.
Yeah. So it made me think, because I love my flats and deep water fishing. So I actually got myself, I've got a 7/8 ultralight. It's brand Crucis. It's from the stable from Viva Tackle.
From Locks.
Yeah, so Locks. Yeah, so yeah. Mate, I actually believe that's really helped me with fishing the deep as well. I feel I get a lot more sensitive. Like, I've got more feel in the rod. I can feel the lure a lot more. And like, for me, I'm only just giving it, in my opinion, I'm probably giving it half a meter. I'm really slow with mine. I just give it a nice gentle lift, about half a meter.
Yeah.
And just let it sit, obviously, and just repeat that process. And the other good thing with Cookie's blades, like, it's like instant vibration. A lot of other blades, like, you don't really have that. You don't have that feel. With Cookie's blade. It's like instant vibration, and I feel that straight away.
Yeah.
And I just feel, I believe that really does. We had like 2 weeks of big rain prior to that comp. Water was a bit dirty. I just feel that vibration really does help. So yeah, I put it down to that. Like, I think that long rod and those fishing deep and that blade, it was just a match made in heaven for that day.
Yeah, nice. And were you applying any scent on the day?
Yeah. I was actually using the Dizzy, that XXX, that Dizzy scent, XXX. UV, it's pungent stuff. Yeah, I actually did make an effort. I'm a bit lazy with scent. That's probably the other reason why I use Gulp.
Fair enough. I'm pretty dumb.
But, yeah, when I'm fishing the blade, I'll probably, every 10 casts, I'd apply scent.
Yeah. I think that there's days where it really makes a difference, and maybe that.
I found that it definitely did make a difference, I believe, as well.
Yeah, very good. Very good. The only other thing before we move off the fishing was, what sort of leaders were you running out there?
4-pound FC Rock.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the stuff. What is it? 100-meter spools.
Yeah.
100-meter spool. I still rate it. I love it.
Yeah.
Gosen 14-pound.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
I don't like running too thin. So for me, for my braid, I'm like P8, 0.8, sorry.
Right, okay.
I don't know. For me, I don't know. It's just a thing. I don't know. Wind knots. I just find anything under, for me personally, P6, 0.6 or below, for me, I try to stay clear from.
Yeah.
To be honest, I still use Fireline as well. I love that stuff as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. And you were running, so your long rod was the Crucis rod, the 7/8, and what sort of reel?
The Vanford 2000. It's a Japanese import, unfortunately, because they don't do them here. Like, so I got that from Digitacker. I run a fleet of those, the 2000 super high gear, shallow spool, and mate, I love those things. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate. That is a great rundown of the fishing. Now, one thing I would say is, in standing in the line with you to weigh in on the Sunday, you're definitely excited, mate. You were buzzing.
Oh. No, and I appreciate your help there, mate. Like, I didn't think, like, I was telling you how worried I was getting the fish out of my live well in case I spilled one, and you're like, dude, just bring it up and beach it. And I'm like, oh yeah, don't know why I didn't think of that. So yeah, no, I appreciate your help there, mate.
100%, mate. You've got to if you've got actually any fish, it doesn't matter what you're trying to weigh. If you got a kayak and you can drag it up out of the water, you just do it because someone dropped on every comp.
Yeah, well, I've done it. I did it in the basin comp actually. So, but yeah, I was lucky to upgrade that as well. But yeah, it's a good community. I enjoy, like, everyone's helping each other, and I've really enjoyed fishing these. Last year was my first time doing them. I've done the boating rounds and that, but I love it. It's a good challenge.
It is. It really is. And it's all on you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Which is good. All right, mate. For coming, what did we get? Third place. What did you get to take home for that?
I've got the check in front of me. $1,040.
How good is that, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. Great for a weekend's fishing. And you would have got, what else you get? You must have got some more things.
Got some goodies, like a prize bag with some lures, some hurricane lures. I think got a couple of pro lures. There was a bit of everything, actually. Atomic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, good bag, actually. The boys, my two boys, they loved it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Bit of a present for them as well.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, well, you get $1,000. So yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully the missus lets me out a bit more now. Nah.
Fair enough, mate. What else you get? Come on, there's more things.
AC, mate. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I think that's, we'd be naive saying, I'm just doing this for fun. Yeah, that we all are doing it for fun.
Yeah.
But like, we're all competitive. We all back ourselves. You're paying $130 to enter one of these things. So you obviously, you're trying to, that end goal for me is an AC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really stoked that I managed to get that. But yeah, it's just, my goal this year is just to be competitive and just like fill my bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal. And yeah, I enjoy it, mate. It's a good bunch of people. Chris and the team at Hobie run an amazing event. Like I really enjoy the way they run these events. Camaraderie, the banter, all of the stuff that goes with it. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that leads us into the last thing, mate. So before we head off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Oh, firstly, my family, my wife, my kids. It's not, it's a bit selfish, this sport. It's a weekend away. Like, we love it, but it's, you've got the wife and young kids at home, which is a bit hard on them. So yeah, my wife especially, Amy. Maker Eyewear, they help me out with sunglasses. Good polarized sunnies are vital in this game as well. And Steve at Tackle Addiction, he's been amazing as well with his help. He's got a good range of lures, and he's just a really nice, genuine bloke as well.
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. All right, mate. Well, I'm stoked to see you right up the pointy end and coming on the show. Hey, hopefully we get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, mate. Hopefully. Next one's Cooter, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Cooter's going to be a great round, mate.
Oh, can't wait.
All right. Very good, mate. Thank you, and I'll talk to you again soon.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. All right. Fishing.com.au, your one-stop brim lure and tackle shop. Pick up the latest tackle, including Muscle Vibes, Cranker Crabs, OSB Bent Minnows, Z-Man Plastics, Eco Gear Lures, and Daiwa Rods, Reels, and Tackle. Same-day shipping. Shop where the world champion, the Australian champion, and the current ABT champion shops. Fishing.com.au. Online or in-store at shop 18-29 Kiora Road, Miranda. Now, for anyone that's been listening for a while, you'll know that I have been using Baby Vibes for quite a long time. Anyway, last week I got my hands on, which was kind of cool because there's a lot of stuff going on for me. I got my hands on a whole bunch of the new cockle-coloured Baby Vibes. So I went and saw Adam and got a 10-pack of the Baby Vibes. I got 14 and 16 size decoy hooks and some Pimp My Lure rings and set them all up. And I also got some straight through 3-pound. So the one I picked up was the Seaguar R18 Fluoro Hunter Tacked. So geared up with a rod with straight through fluoro. I've got my Baby Vibes in cockle. I went down to the local. First day, I ended up with 25 or 26 brim, which included 20 legals. I got roasted by one. I straightened the hooks on another. So I straightened the hooks with 3-pound. So I was kind of giving it to it. Yeah, had a really good day. Second day, I got 15 legals plus a bunch of little ones and what have you. So for me, it's sold, and I'm hoping to get another crack at these in the next couple of days. But the cockle, I'm not sure if it's the colour, but it definitely worked for me. So if it's something you're interested in, jump on fishing.com.au, get yourself a little pack. If you haven't done the straight through thing, my recommendation right at this moment would be the Seaguar R18 Fluoro Hunter Tax, so in the 3 pound. So get your hands on that. All right, so coming in second place, we have an angler who has the best mullet on the circuit. So good, he's even got it on his wrap. In any case, he dropped 3 fish for 2.48 kilos on day one, backed it up with 3 fish for 2.51, giving him a total of 6 fish for 4.99. I'd like to welcome, for the first time to the Brim Fishing Project, Blake Partington. Welcome, mate.
How you going, Dathy?
Good, mate. I got a bit tongue-tied there.
Yeah, that's all good, all good. Thanks for having us on.
Mate, I got to admit, mate, your wrap is one of the best wraps I've seen.
That's sort of what we were going for when I sort of rang up Corey and I said, look, we need a wrap, but we need to really push the envelope on this one. So he was up to the task and we went through a few designs and that's what we come up with.
That's it. And Corey, for those who don't know, our newest sponsor from Podium Marines, does a wonderful job there.
Yeah, and he's only just around the corner from me, so nice and convenient to drop things off and pick things up.
Even better, even better. All right, mate. So, mate, I'm super excited to get you on the show. Like, you've been on the circuit for a couple of years now, and it's good to see you up in the top 3. So, congratulations on that.
Thanks, mate. It's been a long time coming, I think. Started off quite well in my first comp, taking out the first timers, and then it was all downhill from there.
There you go.
I've been trying to claw my way back up ever since.
Fair enough. I do actually. There is a photo of you back. I think it might have been maybe the 2019 round or 2020.
Yes, be about right.
Yeah,
I think it was 2020.
2020.
It was either Luke K one, I think.
Right. Oh, Luke K smashed it that year.
Yeah.
That was only because he could get to the spots first.
Yeah, these big legs.
That's it. That's it. All right, mate. Let's talk about you, mate. So on the Friday before the comp, did you get a chance to get out there and have a pre-fish, and did you learn anything?
I did get out for a pre-fish. Did I learn anything? Not really. I spent probably 4 or 5 hours pedaling around the Point Frederick area in the deep there, looking for cockleweed and any other sort of structure I could find, marker poles, channels, things like that. Managed to land a few legals, but nothing of note, really. Sort of 32, 33 tippers, nothing sort of that exciting. Spent some time in the racks to not much. One half-hearted hit, and that was about it. A few snags and whatnot in there. Got off the water, left me with not much to go off for day one, I'll tell you that much.
Fair enough. And on the pre-fish, what did you get your fish in the deep on?
Most of the fish in the deep were coming on soft vibes, the new Nomad Squid Trexes. The 55 mil, I believe they are.
Yep.
But I got a couple on plastics, but that was pretty much all I could manage to get a bite on.
Very good, very good. So come around to comp day. What was the plan that was going through your head, given you hadn't had a great conclusive pre-fish?
The plan sort of was to probably start deep based on the fact that I'd found at least some fish in the deep and hope that I could maybe knuckle down and wade through them, maybe get some big ones out of there. So sort of that's all I was left with, really, and thought if that doesn't work, I'll go and do some junk fishing and try and find some fish on some edges or somewhere where there might be something.
Right. Okay. So tell us then, how did the day pan out? Did it go to plan?
No. So to start off, I didn't have any fish before 11:30, so there was a big gap in the morning where there wasn't much action. I headed straight to Point Frederick, started to drift along sort of 4 metre mark from the marker poles across. Hooked up to 3 flatted in 3 casts, upgrading each time. Went a real small one to an average one to a donkey that just bit me off at the kayak. Couple of undersized brim, some whiting, some random bycatch. And that was about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I decided to pack it up from there, and there was a bank that I had my eye on while I was floating around there that I thought might have some sort of action on it when the water come up. So as the tide started to move up, I head over to that bank, tried to fish a couple of shallow boats, a couple of rocky points, a couple of weed beds, managed to get a few small undersized fish, but nothing to go in the bag. after that, I was very lost. I was floating around in the middle of nowhere, looking at my sounder, looking at my maps, looking at everything, trying to work out where I was going to go to find these fish. And I just so happened to come across on my sounder maps, it was just a line straight up and down the screen, just a shaded line. And it was a channel, an underwater channel that was half a metre deeper than the surrounding water. And it would have maybe been 10 metres wide. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to go over. I'm going to have a look. So I tied on a Hurricane Sprat 75 in the cleaver colour and a 1/12 jig head, and proceeded to fish the edge of that in sort of a uniform sort of grid, up and down, up and down, up and down. Fish for about 10 minutes and got my first clunk and first fish in the well. It was a 36 tipper, I think, a 33 fork, something like that, which went in the well, which was a good start, and thought, well, I'll hang around here. It was a bit of probably half an hour before I got my next bite, which was another similar sized fish on the Sprat. All the fish on day one came on the Sprat. I threw the Nomad Vibe around a little bit, but caught dewy after dewy. So back to the Sprat, just flicking the Sprat up, down, all the way up and down this channel. Got the second one, and then with about half an hour before I had to start heading back in, still only had 2 fish in the well. And sort of moved a bit further along the channel than I had been fishing, and noticed across my sounder there was just a group of fish on the down scan, and thought, oh, they look like they could be brim. The small little pod of about 4 or 5 little dots on the bottom of the screen, and dropped the plastic straight down, and as soon as it hit the bottom it just went clunk. And it was the 39 tipper, I think it was.
Nice.
Brought it up and it was really fat, big head, straight in the well. And that was pretty much what I got all day. I got 3 fish all day. I think I might have caught one more legal, but it wasn't an upgrade.
Sure.
Yeah.
And using the Sprat on a 1/12 would have been a fair wait time on the drop, I'd imagine.
Yeah, probably 5 to 6 seconds before it was getting to the bottom.
Okay.
I'm fishing about between 5 and 6 metres of water.
Okay, that was a bit quicker than I expected.
Yeah, so the Sprats are quite a bit heavier than a lot of the other plastics getting around. They tend to be a bit less, I wouldn't say less buoyant, but they tend to have a bit more mass about them and be a bit more dense. I've noticed that if I'm fishing just a Z-Man grub or a bait junkie grub, I'll need to go up to a 1/8.
Sure.
With the Sprats, they seem to sink a little bit quicker, whether it's the shape or whether it's just the extra mass, I'm not sure, but they seem to sink a lot quicker than a lot of other plastics on the market.
Yeah, very good. What were you doing in terms of working the lure back to the boat in the deep water?
So in the deep water, I've noticed a lot of people when they fish the deep water, they do a big lift or 2 sort of medium lifts with the plastic. The way I like to fish plastics in the deep, pretty much all my plastics in the deep, is I'll cast it out as far as I can, let it hit the bottom, and then I'll do a really short, sharp flick. I start by flicking the rod down and then using the momentum from the downward flick to flick the plastic back up, but keeping it really short. So it sort of just twitches along the bottom like it's a worm or an injured yabby or something, just sort of flicking across the bottom. And it seems to do the trick, sort of quick flick, 1 or 2 flicks, maybe 3 flicks sometimes, just sort of mix it up and then just let it sit and then just rinse and repeat all the way back to the kayak.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what I did all day.
Yeah, so in your mind, you're working the lure very, very close to the bottom, just in an erratic sort of motion.
Yeah, very close to the bottom. Very erratic, but not very long. So it's only a very short flick. It's not much at all. I sort of think back to when we had quite a big fish tank at home. Yabbies in it. I mean, you drop a worm into the fish tank, it wriggles around and flicks around and carries on like crazy under the water. And I always thought that's what they're doing under the water. That's what we should be trying to, replicate. It's that similar thing with an injured fish. Like if a small bait fish gets injured and falling to the bottom, they tend to be kicking around and sort of not moving too far, but they tend to be flicking quite aggressively. So sort of just try to replicate that with my deep plastics fishing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, got you 3 good bites on the Saturday, which I think you came in with just under 2.5 kilos. Yeah, 2.48, which was a good bag.
4.8, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. Where'd that have you overnight?
That was second overnight. So I've managed to hang on to that position after day 2, which was nice.
You did. All right. So heading out on day 2, what was going through your mind? Are you like, right, I'm back in the deep and I'm looking for this channel, or what was happening?
The plan was to go exactly where I left off on day 1, because I thought being so deep and being a channel that had quite a fair bit of flow from what I could tell when I was there, that it was going to be a spot that would refresh quite well.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back there and first forecast dropped 4 fish.
Right.
And I thought that was going to be it.
That was you.
That's it. I've done myself in here. This is the end of it. I'm not going to get the bites that I need now. Proceeded to get a couple of bit of bycatch, couple of jewies, couple of flathead. Then got 2 brim, 2 casts. Not big by any stretch of the imagination. 30 tippers, 32 tippers.
Yeah.
And fished probably for another hour and a half, 2 hours with no bites. Thinking maybe I should try something else, move to a different spot. I quickly abolished that thought from my head, thinking, no, don't be an idiot, stay here, because they will come back on and they will swim back through.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, maybe they've just gone off the sprat. So I've changed the sprat out for a gulp shrimp in camo.
Okay.
On a 1/8 jig head. And I've lobbed that out. First cast lobbing the shrimp out, I've let it sink, hit the bottom. Same retrieve, quick flick, and it's just gone clunk, and it's come up tight and done nothing. And I've sort of thought, oh, look at the bottom. There's nothing here. How have I hooked the bottom? I'm looking at the sounder. There's no rocks. There's no structure. How have I hooked the bottom? And then the bottom moved and gave me 2 big head shakes and a screaming run. And I've gone, this is a monster Dewey that's taken this.
Yeah.
Just so the run it took, it didn't feel like a brim whatsoever. So I fought it and it sort of started to give up, and I've gone, oh, maybe it's not a Dewey, because the bigger Deweys they just go and go and go. Maybe it's not a Dewey. So I got it up to the top and it was a 39 forker. Just flopped up and I've gone, oh, that's not a Dewey. Quick, back the drag off a little bit. Put him in the net, straighten the live well. And that left me with 3 fish, I was stoked about that. But now I had to get rid of the smaller ones. I think I kept on with the shrimp for probably the next hour or 2 and managed to get 1 small upgrade, maybe 100 or 200 gram upgrade. That was it. 4 fish for the day, and that was me coming back into the way I'm in.
Ouch. Okay. That surprises me, because we hadn't spoken before this, and to only catch 4 fish and end up second out of 100 people.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of fish, I must say. And funny enough, there was a lot of people fishing around me that weren't catching too much. Peter Cook was quite close to me. I think he finished up pretty well.
Yeah, he finished it.
But then James Kilpatrick on day 2 was fishing side by side. We were fishing all day pretty much. He didn't catch a brim. I think he caught 1, fishing the same stuff, same everything. And yeah, he couldn't catch fish. So I don't know whether it was right place, right time or what it was, but it worked out.
Yeah, I was going to say James is not good on day 2, but I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So 4 fish. So what do we say? 2 on the gulp shrimp. And then what were the first 2 on? Were they
2 on the shrimp and the first 2 on the sprat. The sprat 75 with the fork tail.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I think that probably covers the fishing. What sort of leader were you running on lines and leaders and what have you?
When I'm fishing the deep, I tend to just run 4 pound pretty much all the time, because most of the time when I'm fishing the deep, I'm not fishing on a reef or anything that's sort of a bit gnarly. From what I could gather, this was maybe an old shell bed or an old weed bed that they were just hanging on. So there's not really anything for them to bust me off on, so I'll just go 4 pound. No real need to go up if there's no risk of losing fish. May as well go down to try and get those bites.
Exactly. Oh, well, either way, mate, it was pretty good. It was enough to get you up in second place. And
yeah, it did the trick.
It did the trick, mate. And out of 103 entrants, mate, is a fantastic result to even be in the top 10, let alone the top 2.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get into the prizes and stuff. What did you get to take home for second place?
Second place was $1,610. A little goodie bag, a spot in the AC, all important spot in the AC. That's number one.
Yep.
And of course, a trophy for the mantelpiece. Sitting up on the TV unit, looking pretty good.
How good is that? All right.
So, yeah.
All right, mate. One more thing before we head off. Is there anyone or any people you'd like to give a shout out to say thank you to?
Look, I'm not sponsored by anyone or, really affiliated with anyone at the moment, but big shout out to James from HWS. He always is willing to lend a hand whenever I need something, or, he's always booking us accommodation and organising dinners and things like that. And I just want to say we really appreciate the work he does. He definitely looks after us in that regard. Hobie, of course, for putting on such a great event every time we go. I have fished a few different series now, and this one still stands out as the one to be at. The way they run it is just flawless. So thanks to Chris and the team down there. And, of course, Adam from fishing.com.au for always being prompt with supplying the gear that I need to get the job done.
Exactly, mate. That is all very, very good. All right, mate. Once again, congratulations. Like I said, I was waiting for the time where I got to interview you, and here it is. So thank you and well done.
It's finally here. Thank you very much. Just one more shout out. John Curry, don't forget to charge your batteries.
Oh, mate. Come on, John. Well, speaking of John, when am I going to get to speak to John? Like, he's an excellent angler. He should be up here.
Yeah, look, John needs to organise himself before he's going to get anywhere with another Hobie result, I think. He's been a bit unorganised lately. So I think if he can get his organisation in check, he'll start to do a bit better as well.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, great angler and a great guy.
Yeah, that's it.
That is brilliant. Thank you again, and I'll talk to you on the next weekend for the Hobie round.
Next weekend. I'll see you at George's.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, Davey.
Okay, everyone. If you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayak or possibly looking at kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. Now, James offers free delivery on Hobie kayaks across all of Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. All right, and on James's website at the moment, the thing that caught my eye is the new Hobie Vantage Seat accessory bag. So this is just an upgraded model on the old one. And if you haven't got one, you're probably missing out a little bit because it's just another way to neatly store some of your, whatever, your tackle, your lures, your plastics, your lunch, whatever you want, fits neatly on the seat. It's easy to get on and off. And I've got one of the original ones and I will be ordering another one. I think it's just a little bit bigger, a little bit more flash. Either way, it's a great addition to your Hobie in terms of storing your stuff. So get on it. And you might find, even if you're not in a Hobie, you might find it'll be able to attach to some of your boats as well, which might be helpful. hws.com.au. Okay, and landing in first place of an angler dropping 3 fish for 2.9 kilos on the Saturday, backing it up with another good bag of 3 fish for 2.82, giving him a total of 5.72 kilos and first place. I'd like to welcome back to the Brim Fishing Project, Tyson Hayes. Welcome back, mate.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Mate, you've smashed it here in Woiwoi. You were like 700 grams in front, 750 grams.
Yeah, it sort of surprised me. I didn't expect that.
No, that's it. And I know, I think at the back end of day 2, you were kind of struggling there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that turned around. Mate, another thing that we spoke about just before we hit record is back in May 1st, 30th of April, May 1st in 2022, you came 11th with 3.34 at Woiwoi. And then last year you came 8th in the biggest field ever with 3.52 kilos. And this year you've just gone one better and put another 2 kilos on and taken the win.
Yeah. It's getting better and better each time. So I'm really happy with that.
Exactly. And you said you had a good result. I think you said you're in the top 3 or 4 a couple of years before that as well. So we've always been pretty good to you.
It has been good. I think I got third. It must be at least 5 or 6 years ago at least.
Yeah, so in the first or second round they had there. Do you think it's got something to do with the waterway, or you've just found a trick, or you got any ideas on why it's been good to you?
There is kind of a trick to it. Like, I've done the same thing every single year. I fish the jetties around the Rip Bridge, and if they're not fishing good, then I'll go straight to the deep, because that's where they'll nearly always be if they're not on the jetties.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, it's proven to work for you. All right. Let's get into it, mate. You come down from Queensland. Did you get a chance to fish on the Friday before and have a bit of a look around?
I did, but I didn't do what I was going to do. So I went up into the lake just to see what it's like, because I've never been in there. Because I always do the same thing. I went into the lake to see what it looks like and, fish a few racks and weed beds. But yeah, it was very slow. So I just stuck to what I knew. Sort of went back there.
So that means that you didn't go down to the Rip Bridge on pre-fish?
No, I didn't go down to the Rip Bridge. Like, I know it's always fishing pretty good there. So everyone said deep bite, and I knew that spot was probably going to fire if deep bite was what was happening.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Well, Saturday morning, tell us a bit about your day and how you went about catching your fish.
So Saturday morning, I started pretty much in the deep, just with plastics, 2.5-inch crabbies and 2.5-inch motor oil grubs. Sort of got me a bag pretty quick. I was continuously catching fish on them, but just nothing size. And later on, I sort of found out the crab was, I don't know, it was dominating big fish. So I stuck with that the whole day after that.
Right. Okay, so let's peel it back a little bit. So you're fishing the areas around the bridge where the water flows hard. Is that pretty correct?
Yes. So the first day was pretty good. Like, there was only half hour of the sort of run out there. The run in normally fishes really good there, and you can sit there a bit better.
Yeah.
So
right.
It was pretty good the first day. Like, I didn't have to wait long before the bite sort of started, because they sort of start right on the deck.
Yeah.
And all the whole run in, they bite.
Yeah. But it's obviously a challenging location to fish. Like, given the water runs so hard, trying to hold bottom and what have you would be, I assume, is quite difficult.
Yeah, there's a little trick to that as well. So the further you get away from the bridge, the easier it is to sit there. And if you sit sort of 100 meters away from it, sort of roughly 100 meters, you can sort of sit there really easy. So you can slip it in reverse and just sit there.
Okay. Very good. That's kind of cool. And you obviously find, like, usually when people target bridge structure, they're like right on the pylons, but obviously you're getting fish well back off the bridge.
Yeah, so there's, I don't know how many people know it, but there's a lot of rocks and reefy sort of stuff on the bottom there. I pulled up a few rocks with mussels and oysters on it. So they're definitely feeding sort of quite a fair way away from the bridge and bridge pylons.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, and just to get off track, we used to fish for jewfish off Captain Cook Bridge. And before Hobie kayaks with pedals, we would paddle up with our paddles to the bridge and then drift back. And because you can't hold yourself in the current, you'd end up 100, even 200 meters back off the bridge. And we'd still get dewies back there, which was interesting. So
yeah. Well, dehooking fish and whatnot, and tying leaders and whatever you have to do, you can't hold your spot. You got to keep paddling.
Definitely. All right. So you bagged out initially on motor oil grubs and gulp shrimp. Is that correct?
Motor oil grubs, yes, and gulp crabbies, sorry, 2.5-inch.
Oh, crabbies. Okay. 2.5-inch crabbies. And was that basically just hopping it across the bottom, all that rubbly structure?
Yeah, hopping it off the bottom. I wasn't really letting it get quite to the bottom. I'd sort of hold it just off it. Like, as soon as I felt something, I'd lift it up a tiny bit and sort of just jiggle it maybe an inch or two off the bottom.
Okay. Once you bagged out on small fish, how'd you go about getting the bigger ones, which obviously you had nearly 3 kilos, let's call it. So nearly a kilo of fish. How'd the big guys come on Saturday?
They were all on the cranky crab. Just, I think it's the 50 mil crab, but they're heavier, so 5.9 gram, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that sort of just caught fish after fish after fish. Like, it was crazy. They're obviously feeding on crabs there.
That's interesting because a lot of people struggled for the comp, so to catch a lot of fish is a bit surprising to me. Was it the same deal in terms of just putting it to the bottom and then trying to keep it just a fraction off the bottom?
Yeah, keeping it a fraction off the bottom was sort of the key. If you let it sort of drift a bit, you were pretty likely to get snagged up. And I think I lost about 12 crabs the whole comp. So it was expensive.
It is expensive unless you win, and then it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most of them go into crab.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you got lots of numbers. How many illegals do you reckon you boated for the day?
On the first day, honestly, I lost count. Like, at one point, it was nearly every cast.
Right. That's insane.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think for that first day, I would have probably got around 30 plus fish.
Right. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what sort of lines and leaders were you running for that deep water fishing?
So the deep water, because it's all rubbly and I didn't want to lose too many crabs, I was throwing 7 pound leader and just the braid. So I think it was 8 pound braid.
8 pound braid. Okay. Any particular brand of leader?
I think it's platypus. I'm not exactly sure what kind. Yeah, I know it's platypus, but I just don't know what exactly it's called. Or it could be the TT.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Cool. All right. Well, either way, that was enough to bring you back with, was it 2.9 kilos, which I think was firmly in first place. Tell us about Sunday. You're going out leading the comp, and yeah, how was that?
I don't like sitting in first, that's for sure. So you've got everything to lose.
Why is that?
Well,
they just got to catch you. How was the bite on day 2?
The bite on day 2, it was a little bit slow at the start because the tide sort of took a bit longer to slow down. It was really tough, like at the very start. I tried fishing it, but the current was just too extreme. So I flipped over to a few jetties and pontoons, and I got my first fish on plastic. But yeah, as soon as the tide sort of stopped flowing and things settled down, I sort of went to the deep again. And yeah, I just went straight back to the crab, which were catching the bit better fish the day before.
Right. Like on that Saturday, you obviously brained him a little bit. On the Sunday, once the current started to flow to turn around and come back in, how was that? Did you get a bunch of them?
I did. So I got a bunch of fish, but they weren't huge. I don't know if it was because of the pressure the day before. It probably was. There was a few more boats and kayaks there the second day. I was hoping for a little bit of chop so I could go up into the bit shallower of water that I hadn't fished the day before.
Okay. But I was going to say this Sunday, I think, was a calmer day. There was almost no wind.
Yeah, there was no wind. And there was probably in the last half hour to 40 minutes, there was a bit of wind sort of picked up then, and there was a few ripples on the water. So I decided to go into that shallow stuff, and that was the best decision I made.
Okay, well, let's set this up. So you got your bag reasonably easily. What sort of weight did you have initially?
It was probably on 2 kilos, I reckon. So I was sitting on 2 kilos for almost the whole day. The last 40 minutes or so of fishing is sort of when it changed.
Okay. All right. Talk us through why you changed and what happened.
Alrighty. So there was a lot of people fishing the shallower stuff the first day. and I sort of stuck to the deeper stuff because that's where I normally fish, sort of the deep. And yeah, I'm not sure what they were throwing, but I didn't see too many people catching in the shallower stuff. But yeah, just when everyone left there the second day, I sort of went over there and the wind was up a little bit, and yeah, the tide was perfect. Everything was perfect, and yeah, they sort of just jumped on.
Okay, and were you fishing the crabs at the same as well?
Yeah, just the cranky crabs. I just went straight to the cranky crab the second day. I knew it was raining on the first day, so I thought, why change it?
Okay, I'm confused about how you fished it. If you like my understanding of the bridge down there, you as you get into the shallow, you get into a lot of cockleweed and all that sort of stuff. So is that sort of the structure you were fishing?
Yeah, so there is a lot of cockleweed. Most of the cockleweed's sort of in the 2 to 3 meter mark of the water column, and then when it drops off, it's just really oysters and mussel type rocks.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to fish the weed because you're fishing with the current and it flows straight into it. But if you can avoid the weed, you're almost guaranteed to fish.
Right. Okay. So basically, you've just kind of got to put up with getting hung up on the weed for the times that you do hook the fish.
Yeah, weed and also a few rocks and whatnot. If you can handle that, you can wait it out, I guess.
Yeah, nice. Okay, and what sort of quality of fish did you pull out in the end of the day?
I think once I moved to that shallow water, my first fish, I was screaming. I got a 1.1 kilo fish. I was over the moon with that one. I went straight in the well. And then very soon after, I think it was the last 5 minutes of my fishing, I think I got a 900 grammer, which upgrade something like a 500 grammer.
Right. Okay. So 400 gram upgrade.
Yeah, it's a good fish.
Definitely. I mean, assume once you hook the kilo fish, you're like, right, all right, now I'm really in with the shot of this. And once you get the second one, you're probably going, right, I think I've got it.
Well,
does that sound fair?
Yeah, I heard Blake had a big fish because he was sitting right behind me on that first day. Some guys knew he had a big fish there. I think it was a 39 forker. So they were estimating
39 forker. That's right.
Yeah, so they were estimating it to be like 1.2, 1.3 kilo fish. That was a little bit worrying because I didn't have my fish at that time.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's right.
That 1.1 or so that I got that made me happy. Sort of got me back there.
Definitely. Well, without probably the second upgrade, you would have been okay without, but getting the 1.1, that was probably the win right there, I'd say.
Yeah. I screamed for that one.
Very good. All right, mate. I reckon that's a pretty good rundown of the fishing. For actually, correct me if I'm wrong. How many events have you won? Is this the first one, or I can't remember?
This is the second one. I won a Gold Coast round in 2018, I think it was.
Okay.
So it was just before COVID.
Yeah, righto. So second round win. How good's a round win now? It's always a good payout and, big field.
Yeah. Well, the giant fields help. It's good.
They certainly do. All right, well, let's get to that.
It feels better to win.
It does. What did you get to take home for first place?
So it was 3,100 in cash and just the lure pack. It's got everything, the brimfish I use and also the trophy, which is the important part.
Exactly. And you're in the grand final and in the AC. Mate, it's a pretty good win.
Yeah, so I actually made the AC in the last comp in Basin. So someone got lucky and fourth place jumped in.
There you go. How good's that? All right, mate. Before we head off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, so I'd like to thank Sunstate Hobie, or Sunstate Water Sports, sorry, and I'd also like to thank Estuary Clothing and TTs. They've looked after me for a very long time.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. All right, Tyson, mate, it's a pleasure to speak to you again. I'm going to see you next week on the Georges. And, mate, yeah, thanks for coming on again.
No, thanks.
All right, mate, congratulations. Thanks, mate. Okay, so there you go, everybody. What a great event this was. I really enjoyed fishing it and enjoyed recording it. Great to see the top three. It was a really cool top three for me. In other news, I have my original PA12 360 up for sale. You can jump on socials and have a look at that. If anyone's interested, anyone that hears it on the Brim Fishing Project has a look and buys a kayak, I'm happy to take them out for a day and we'll spend a day out in the water, go fishing, trying to catch some fish and walk you through the kayak. So yeah, jump on socials and have a look at that. For anyone that's local to Sutherland Shire, Sacred Soul Wellness, they are starting another beginner's course. And as it stands at the moment, the only people that have signed up for it, it's a couple of weeks out, are guys. So it's a particularly good thing to do if maybe you're a little bit nervous about it. It'll be guys and we're all in the same boat. Jump on Sacred Soul Wellness on socials or online and have a look. If you want some help or want some encouragement, certainly reach out to me on socials. I may be there for that. It runs on Monday nights. It just depends. It's one of my big podcasting nights, so we'll see. All right. So look, I think I'm going to leave it there. I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging around to the end. I appreciate everyone that's reached out over the last month, and the fishing community is so supportive. So I really appreciate that. I look forward to bringing you maybe a couple of shows next week, and yeah, we'll do a catch up definitely and letting you know what else is coming. I think things are clearing for me, so I should be able to get some stuff sorted and get some new innovation happening on the Brim Fishing Project. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.